to Leitner. Puts it up. Yeah!
You're listening to the Culture State Podcast.
Get ready. Woo!
All right, welcome back to another great episode of the Culture State Podcast. I am Chris Lee. That is my man, Dennis Jamel Cox. I realize I haven't been saying your middle name a lot lately, so I have to make sure I put it in there as much as possible.
It's fine. You know, we got to let the people know. Especially since you and I are going to be coming back live on Saturdays this fall. That's right. Culture State, Saturdays, back live 10 to noon on 99.9 The Fan or WREL Sports Fan. And we're going to be on TV, WREL Sports Plus.
I love it. I absolutely love it. From this little idea that we had back in the summer of 2020, and now it grows into this. I love it, and I've loved what we've grown from there so far. And let's do a little bit more, man. I'm with it. So
let's do it.
Along with that, we've had bigger and better interviews, and on this episode, we have an interview that I was able to do at WRL with Devonte Graham.
Yeah.
If you're not familiar with the name, get familiar. He is an NBA player, plays with the New Orleans Pelicans. He's from Raleigh, North Carolina. He is a Broughton High School alum. He's a Kansas Jayhawk alum. Yeah. And if you missed him with the Jayhawks, he was amazing then. And his story in the NBA was a really good one as well, because he wasn't looked at as one of those guys that was supposed to come to the pros and do an amazing job. So he gets drafted in the second round, I want to say in 2018, by the Hornets. And then they send him to Greensboro for an entire year pretty much to develop with the Greensboro Swarm in the G League. And then all of a sudden he has a breakout second year, and then he has a great third year. And so much so that the Hornets had to make a decision. We can't pay you along with these other players. So he had to leave to go elsewhere, which usually is good for the player that you've created this market for yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's what Devonte Graham did. He's one of those classic cases of guys who were under-recruited coming out of high school. He told me in the interview, hey, when I was a sophomore in high school, I was 5'5", and then all of a sudden I had a growth spurt, right?
Yeah.
And so that was huge for him. But he was originally supposed to go to Appalachian State, but then decided to take a prep school year after graduating from Broughton. And then that's where he was able to get more national acclaim, and then Kansas kind of came into the mix. Then that was good for him. Mm-hmm. I want to say, though, shout-outs to Appalachian State, because they've missed out on a couple of big NBA stars just due to that same thing. Another NBA star that originally committed to Appalachian State, who's also a friend of this show, Josh Howard. Josh Howard was supposed to go to Appalachian State from Glenn High School, took his prep school year at Hargrave Military Academy, then Wake Forest came into the scene and then took him away. And, of course, you know what he went on to do in the NBA, play with the Dallas Mavericks, one-time NBA All-Star. Him and Dirk Nowitzki look good next to each other. So, it's very interesting. I feel bad right now for the Mountaineers.
Man, you know what? I did not put those two things together, man. Could you imagine? We'd be talking like, NC State, UNC, Duke. No, App State basketball is the place to go.
Right.
Man, could you imagine? Golly, the trajectory of that basketball program. If Josh Howard had gone there, who knows? And then if Devonte Graham was there, man, you can sit there and say, you bring recruits on, like, hey, you see these two guys are playing in the NBA?
That is a great point you're bringing up, and I don't even think we need to spend a little bit of time on that, because if you think about it, if they were able to land Devonte Graham's, Josh Howard's, maybe some others, then other people kind of come along, and as their football program is growing and moving up to the FBS level, maybe even the basketball program could help elevate them, and maybe that puts them in better position to go to a level that's higher than the Sun Belt. But we've also missed out. Let's make another connection to Kansas. We've missed out on other great North Carolina talent who were supposed to play college basketball inside of our state, but decided to go to Kansas as well. Let's talk about Danny Manning. Page High School, Greensboro, North Carolina.
That's right.
And, probably was supposed to be a North Carolina Tar Heel. Imagine if he was a part of that lineage from Carolina as well instead of going to Kansas. That's crazy.
That's a good point. Well, he definitely helped the Tar Heels win when he was coaching at Wake Forest, that's for sure. Well, let's get to our interview, Devonte Graham, right here next on the Culture State Podcast.
It's cool to have you here, just mainly because like you're one of the latest success stories here in Raleigh, from out of Raleigh, and you end up having your own day, Devonte Graham Day, that was started last year. Before we talk about what you're doing this year for, how exciting was that for you, to the place that you've grown up in, to commemorate you, give you your own day here in the city?
That was a blessing, man. I remember my mom, I think they contacted my mom about it, and she had reached out to me about it. And they tried to do it like 2 years ago, but I just couldn't find a day that I could come and do it. But I was excited about it. Coming from where I come from, you know, it just everybody don't have something happen to them like that. So when I found that day, I was just like, I'll be there and accept the award and stuff like that. But it's nice.
So now for a second day in a row, second year in a row, I should say, you're doing something for the community forward. Is this something that you plan on doing like for forever, like from here on out? And how excited are you to use your day to give back to the city that helped raise you?
Definitely gonna try to do something, whether it's small giveaways, backpack giveaways around school time. So, you know, whether it's giving away school supplies, anything, you know, just to help on that day. Probably try to do it for the next couple of years, definitely, if I'm around. So, and definitely excited. Giving away, the community loves it. People show so much support and love through my career, even before the NBA. So you're supposed to give back.
Absolutely. Is there somebody that you may have looked up to from Raleigh, from the area, that gave back, that maybe made an impression on you as a kid, and now that you're here in a position where you can do the same, you wanted to emulate what they've done?
I mean, it's been plenty of people. Obviously, basketball guys, John Wall, P.J. Tucker, T.J. Warren. I mean, I went to T.J. Camp a couple years back, and just to see, you know, the kids there. This was before I think this might have been my rookie year. Just to see the kids' faces, you know, when they see guys walking in and stuff like that. So it's about that. It's about the kids and giving them the memories.
There's so many so much big time talent in the NBA from North Carolina, and we'll talk a little bit more about the talent in general later on. But like, you were one of the guys that's there, but also under-recruited, underappreciated in high school, and you do the prep school year, and then get to Kansas. What was that time period like for you, knowing that, hey, maybe I'm better than maybe the attention I'm getting right now, and being able to wait it out a year to eventually land into a big spot like Kansas?
That was the biggest turning point in, you know, my basketball career. Believing in myself. Having the people that in my corner that believed in me, and just going out and grinding, you know, not thinking about what people said about me or thinking about if they thought I could do it or not. Going out to Brewster, you know, working, and then ultimately, you know, ending up at Kansas. That was one of my toughest years of basketball, but it ended up working out for me. So,
why do you think you were under-recruited coming out of Brighton?
I mean, I wasn't the tallest, I wasn't the fastest, couldn't jump high. I didn't hit a growth spurt till like junior year, so I was like 5'5". Okay. So, you know, it wasn't, I mean, that was pretty much, it was, you know, the physical stature of it. But, you know, you just wait it out and keep grinding.
Yeah, absolutely. Kansas happens, and I told you before the interview, I had a chance to cover you as I was covering Duke. You know, as you guys went to Omaha, you sent Duke home early and everything like that. And to me, it felt like that's when the world kind of picked up on you a little bit more. When do you think that you started turning the corner and people started picking up on you, Devonte Graham, the basketball player, more?
I would say the game probably was when we played Buddy Hield. I think that was like one of my breakout games in college, and that was like my sophomore year. Is when really kind of, you know, people started I had a little buzz. But I was still there. Me and Frank was always together. You know, Frank was player of the year and this right there. And so, you know, just had to wait my time. And then, like you said, senior year, I kind of took over that starting role and you know, led us to the Final Four. Yeah. And obviously beating Duke was a huge thing, especially around here. Yeah. You know, for family and friends and myself. So I think that was definitely a big game too.
I don't want to skip over that too much, but the fact that happened, you're under-recruited from the area, of course. You know, you have NC State, Carolina, Duke, all in the area. And to have that, did that feel like validation for you? And did you grow up a Duke fan or cheering against Duke?
No, I hated Duke. I was a UNC fan growing up.
Okay.
Whole family UNC, you know, so well, not anymore, but
Yeah.
you know, we kind of still.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely wanted to beat Duke. I actually beat Duke twice, I believe, in my career. I think I was 2-0 against them.
Yeah. Okay. And then get into the NBA. Speaking of being a Carolina fan, of course, that means that you probably looked up to Michael Jordan and then get drafted
Right.
by the Hornets. You know, what was that feeling like, and to have arguably the greatest player that's ever played, who's also from North Carolina, to be your boss?
I think that was the first time I was ever like starstruck. When I first met him, shook his hand and he said my name like it was like a little kid. You know, you grow up wanting to wear J's all the time. Got J's on right now. Actually sponsored by Jordan, so it's like just a dream come true. You feel me? You meet Michael Jordan and he's your owner. He's at the games. He's watching you work out, and like I said, it was just like real starstruck, real humbling.
Yeah. One thing I thought was cool about that time period, and at the time I was in the Triad, I had a chance to cover you with the Swarm, and Hornets used you liberally there, and it ended up being like one of the success stories, I think, early on in James Borrego's start there with the Hornets. I know a lot of people kind of have like a negative outlook on what the G League is, but when you were going back and forth there and you're able to get the playing time to develop to what you were able to develop into, how did that make you grow as a player? And is that one of those things, like during the time, are you down on it, or is it one of those situations where you're looking at it like, this is a great opportunity because I know I'm going to get playing time and be able to shine?
I think it's your mindset about it. You know, that's pretty much, you know, you have some people who look at it as like degrading, and then you have guys like how I looked at it is, I get to play and I'm going to go prove myself. So that's pretty much what I was trying to do. Take what they were teaching me and watching Kemba pretty much, and how he scored, the way he got his shots off, and doing that and trying to go to the G League and kind of mimic what he was doing. So that's pretty much, you know, growth, getting better, because the college game doesn't really, you know, transition to the NBA. So you gotta bring different pieces. So whatever my player development coach was teaching me, that's what I was going down there trying to do.
I wanted to know the difference, like, and was it like a shock to you when you first got into your first NBA or G League action coming from college? Like, and of course you have the summer league to kind of get used to it, but once it actually happened and the games start counting, what was going on in your mind? Like, you know, like, oh, this is like faster than what I anticipated.
Yeah, it moves a lot faster. The game is faster but slower at the same time, if that makes sense. Because like in college, you like run around, you run a lot of plays, and you know, NBA, you in positions and spots, and it's a lot of one-on-one, but obviously faster, stronger, jump higher, 82 games, travel, diet, all of that stuff. Like it comes fast. So, you know, you just got to be prepared as best as possible, but you learn as you go.
Speaking of that travel portion of it, what is the difference between the G League travel schedule and the NBA travel schedule, and also just, you know, the types of accommodations when you're going between the two?
Well, first of all, G League travels commercial, so it's like you go to the airport just like
everybody else.
Like everybody else, yeah, you know. So you going through security, you know, and stuff like that. But you know, you get chartered in the NBA. We don't go into the airports. So that was the biggest difference between the two.
And then I want to know a little bit more about your time in Greensboro, as far as like, when did you feel like your game was starting to translate?
In the G League,
and also getting ready for what it would have been like on the NBA level.
I mean, I feel like that whole process, you know, kind of molded me for that next season, that breakout season when Kemba and them had left. Because like I said, you got good guys that's in the G League. The G League's not just like a walk in the park type league. You know, you got guys who really could be in the NBA playing, but obviously the teams are stacked. You know, you got the Warriors and stuff like that. So you got guys who could play, but they're with the Warriors, so they got to play in the G League. So you got guys from overseas that play. So it was just about like I keep saying, my mindset. I just wanted to go down there and I wanted to prove, that I could be here, that I could score, that I could shoot at a high rate, defend and stuff like that. So I was just, mentally just locked in.
Yeah. Eventually, you're in New Orleans now after leaving the Hornets. And one thing I think is kind of interesting, though, like the Hornets, with the Pelicans, there's a lot of North Carolina flavor that's there with you as well, with Brandon Ingram and Trey Murphy. And then Zion's from South Carolina, but played up here at Duke and everything. And then, of course, a lot of ACC flavor, too, with Jose Alvarado. But I think it's a really good, interesting mix of guys. And it feels like you guys are a team that people aren't talking about right now in the West, but you scared a lot of folks in the West last year, making it to the playoffs. First off, what was it like in the playoffs last year for you? But then also, like, what do you see this team going towards with, all the pieces that you have right now? There's a smile on your face right now, too.
Yeah,
like, you look excited
because, we a team that we like to, keep everything in home. So we really don't pay attention to the outside world. We started out 1-13. People was obviously, saying all this about us, and we ended up making the playoffs. So, we made people, eat a lot of stuff that they had said about us. Missing one of our best players, obviously, with Zion out. And like you said, we kind of shocked or scared a lot of people. Probably thought we was going to get swept, ended up, winning a couple of games. But the playoff experience was my first one. It was amazing. Yeah. The fans in New Orleans, unbelievable. Obviously, Phoenix is used to, winning and stuff like that. So their atmosphere was pretty good. But yeah, we got a great team. Young guys, we all get along, no egos. So like I said, excited about this year. We're gonna be stacked, and like I said, that just getting a taste of the playoffs is gonna make it made us hungrier, and we're gonna want to get back there again and even further.
How do you and Jose Alvarado feed off each other? Two guys who are kind of under recruited and it just really kind of popped on the scene, and his defense is amazing. You've turned into a great shot maker. What do you think that combination could be like? And then once you add Zion back in as a piece, have you fantasized about all the lobs you can send his way?
That's what everybody can't wait to see right there. But no, man, everybody feeds off each other. Jose obviously brings that energy defensively, right along with Herb. Those are two, main defensive guys. So everybody feed off Jose energy, that little stealing the ball out the backcourt and stuff like that. But
has he ever got you in practice doing that?
No. I don't know where that came. It came out of nowhere. Like during the middle of the season, he just started doing it. He had never did it in practice, but then they went back to Georgia Tech and they showed the clips of him doing it there. But yeah, I just seen he got Trey Murphy the other day though. They was playing pickup. I gotta watch him.
That's funny. What's it like with the rest of the North Carolina flavor? With you, Brandon, and Trey, like you guys form a little bond, about guys from the state?
Yeah, because we all from here. Yeah. And then we had Gary Clark.
Oh, that
was on the team last year as well. So we had a bunch of North Carolina guys on the team. So it was, we all really watched each other grow up and knew each other. So
with that and all the talent that's kind of here and that's out there right now and that was in the NBA or currently is in the NBA, either on their way out or kind of making their way in, what kind of pride does it make you feel with just being from this area and how it can really develop great players in the future?
We had this conversation all the time with guys around here about the best, the top in North Carolina and stuff like that. But man, we got a lot of good athletes. And then when I was with the Hornets, I had the Martin twins. And so it's just like got John and obviously PJ and TJ, like I said earlier. So it's a lot of love, and we all be supporting each other.
What is it about Raleigh specifically in the basketball community here with, just everybody that's from here, the ones that you named, and then also the stuff that Lavelle likes to do in the community and all that? What is it about the Raleigh community specifically that helps foster this community of great basketball players that comes out of here?
I don't know, man. I think it's just where we come from. And, that's what just kept us on the right path. Basketball, we all connected. We all you know, like I said, be supporting each other. And that's why you come back and do community stuff, because you have all the support here and people who watch you grow from this basketball. And, you know, that's something that we all can relate to. And I think that was the biggest thing, just keeping everybody, you know, out of trouble. So, yeah.
When you're in New Orleans, have you become a Popeyes guy, or are you still like Bojangles?
Nah, you said, do I still like Bojangles?
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, I gotta stay true, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I like Bojangles.
Is that something you miss? Like, what are some of the things you miss from North Carolina and being down there that you, like, as soon as you get back home, you're like, I've got to go to this place?
I stopped doing that, honestly, not even gonna lie, but.
Diet, make sure everybody's together.
But every time I used to come back and get Bojangles and Cookout.
Okay.
That was every time I came back home, but I haven't had it yet, so I'm doing pretty good.
You gonna sneak it
But
in
now
before
you done
leave
brought it up.
anything?
Now you got me thinking about it. Nah. But nah, I'm gonna try to stay away from it.
Okay, all right. And then I guess just finally, as we kind of talked about your Devonte Graham day, give us a little bit more information as to what people can expect, where it's going to be at, that type of thing.
Yeah, so that's the big day that everything. The reason I came back. So it's Sunday. I'm having a camp from 10 to 1, and then at Broughton. So kids signed up for that. I think we might have like 120 plus or so kids, and then the community day is for everybody. It's at Fletcher Park, right across the street from Broughton. We're gonna have games, face paint, snow cones, cotton candy, food trucks, and really, I mean, when me and my mom was kind of thinking about it, she was just like, she was big on the having fun, inspiring, educate, and just empowering, the youth pretty much. So we're gonna have mental health stations, vaccination stations, if you want to get a vaccine, guest speakers, all types of stuff. So DJ, and yeah, it was pretty much, we wanted to throw something for the community that was free, because she was big on that. A lot of kids aren't able to afford camps and stuff like that, so we just wanted to have something for everybody.
What type of lessons do you want to hope to impart on the kids while you're there?
The biggest thing is believe, bro. That's my whole foundation, the Believe Foundation. Like I said, you gotta believe in yourself. Whatever it is you want to do, whoever it is you want to be, believe in yourself. You can do it, but you gotta work hard at whatever that is.
Absolutely. And then I guess we'll leave it with this. I know that athletes like to stay in the moment, right, and kind of focus on what's coming up. But if you can, maybe look ahead 10, 15 years, 20 years, maybe from one of these Devonte Graham days comes the next kid from Raleigh who's going to make it to the NBA. How proud would that make you feel that you've kind of had that impact on the community if that were to happen?
That'd be, great, man. That's what you want, I want some 10 more, kids from here that, looked up to me and felt like they could do it because of me and end up doing it and having the same success or even more success than I have. So that's what it's all about. You get to a certain age, you want to start, thinking about the youth and like I said, empowering them and just inspiring them.
Cool.
Actually, Chris, I got a question. Just because, you got the MJ interaction, you mentioned him earlier, and I'm curious. Like, you mentioned the one story, but we just see him on TV, we know the stories, everything. What's your personal favorite interaction you had with MJ that you're going to be telling your kids and grandkids one day?
My favorite MJ interaction.
Story or something you saw him do in person that maybe we didn't get to see in the highlights and all that. Just some it's a peek behind the curtain at MJ.
Let me see. I remember one time he was teaching us it was me, Dwayne Bacon, I think Malik Monk, and he was telling Dwayne he needed to learn how to. He was telling him he needed to learn how to shoot his fadeaway, basically Michael Jordan's fadeaway, and so he was teaching him the footwork. So then I came to do it. And he was like, no, you don't do that. You just shoot threes. So I remember him telling me that. He was like, you just don't do nothing but shoot threes. And I was like, all right, bet. So
All right, same question, but LeBron. What about LeBron? Like, any interactions you had with him that you want to?
I mean, my favorite thing was just him giving me the shout out when I should have won.
Oh, that's right.
Most improved player. Yeah, when he said, if you look at Devontae's stats, you know, how does he not win? So I mean, that was pretty cool.
The final one, and I don't know how much interaction you got to have with him across past over the years. What about Kobe? Did you have much?
Oh no, I didn't.
Okay.
Nah, yeah, unfortunately not.
I guess add on that, like with you did play Phoenix in the playoffs, like you know, Chris, you know, like did you guys have any interactions? What does he say to you about your game?
Nah, CP is like my guy. Like always been motivating me. Been to his camps. Even when I was in the NBA, I even went to a camp. He had guards from the NBA come. Tell me to text him all the time and hit him if I have anything. Gave me his jersey. Got his jersey hanging up on my wall. So like, you know, CP is obviously one of those guys, you know, like the youth that look up. Like I was one of the guys who looked up to him. So great guy. Love him.
We want to thank Devonte Graham for joining us on the Culture State podcast as well. And he's back in New Orleans now doing his thing, getting ready for the season. But he also, after that interview, held an entire weekend where he was giving back because of Devonte Graham Day in Raleigh. Yep. And so, you know, that's one of his things. His Believe Foundation, he wants to give back to the community in Raleigh that helped to raise him, helped him to become the man and the player that he is. And, you know, we shout out to him and kudos to him for everything he's doing in the area. Between him, Lavelle Moten, I would say, you know, PJ Tucker and others, there's a lot of giving back to Raleigh right now. And it's going to help, you know, foster a really good community, probably of the next wave of NBA players.
Yep. John Wall as well. Throw
John Wall, yes.
That as well. So it is
TJ
always
Warren.
great when you see people that reach a high level of status in their profession, look back to where they came from and say, hey, let me help. Because there was someone that helped them. Let me be the person that helps someone else. And hopefully that continues to grow things.
It's easy for us, and this is part of our way of trying to give back, North Carolina, through this whole show, through this whole concept, because we wanted to highlight and celebrate those who come from the state or who spent some really decent time in the state and to show them that we're proud of them. And we want to highlight their stories and have it out there. That's the whole reason why so this is our forum and this is our version of that as well. Can't wait to do that with you even more through this podcast, and can't wait to do it even more with you through Culture State Saturdays. Tell them all about it.
That's right. Live 10 to noon on 99.9 The Fan, as well as WRLSportsFan.com. You can stream us there, listen to us, or watch us because we're on WRL Sports Plus. But here's the cool part, Chris. Our first show back, September 3rd. East Carolina, NC State in Greenville. We're going to be there at Dowdy-Ficklen Stadium. So come see us. We're going to be on the lower concourse, people. Come say hey. We'll have some fun.
It'll be my first time there as well, and I cannot wait to go there and take everything in. I mean, what an atmosphere to take in, you know, especially before that particular big game, NC State, ECU. Definitely excited for it.
We all know NC State fans love the tailgate. ECU fans love to get down, and it's week 1, noon kickoff. Oh. And here's the thing. It's Labor Day weekend, so they got a couple extra days to recover, or at least an extra day to recover. It's going to be insane.
Of tailgating, I just want to tell you this, and I should have told you this before, but I'm letting you know here as we're recording this. Before the Kevin Hart show, there were people tailgating in the parking lot at PNC Arena, and my wife was like, why are they tailgating here? I was like, this is the culture. They're going to tailgate before anything. They were tailgating before SmackDown. So, you know, that's just the culture there. And so, of course, it's going to be good to see that as well over in Greenville and be able to take that in.
Yeah, it's going to be lit, as the kids say.
Lit. Yep. Thank you guys for watching and listening to the Culture State Podcast. Please give us 5 stars if you're listening on Apple. And then also, hey, if you're watching this on WRL Sports Plus, thank you so much. We appreciate that as well. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and also my man on TikTok. I'm at Chris Lee TV. He's at The Fan Rookie, also Culture State Pod. We're just trying to do our thing out here.
The Culture State Podcast, part of the Capital Broadcasting Podcast Network, with new shows coming out every Wednesday. Download and subscribe from wherever you get your podcasts, including the WRL Sports Fan app.